Hey, welcome to Mullen Stock. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. And also remember that this is not a financial advice video. So today I want to go over some of the latest updates for Mullen and what they mean for investors. And over and above that, I do see some people talking on the upcoming Q2 earnings, which might be a little bit more premature considering there's roughly around 3 weeks left in Q2. But still a lot of people are saying that it is going to be epic and very good for Mullen and have revenue. So I just wanted to break that down and go over that. So starting off, it does look like Chacha has reached out to Randy. So of course he has a very good connection at Randy Marion that has proved in the past to be very accurate well before us finding out any information coming from Mullen. So definitely I feel that this is accurate. And Randy does say that there is a huge amount of demand for the M1, as I've said in the past. And all they need is just production to start. And it's one of those kind of scenarios that I don't really understand why they are starting with the M3 in reality versus the huge amount of demand that's kind of following the M1. So in reality, I do feel that this is something that Mullen definitely does need to do. Even though a lot of people are on the edge of their seat waiting for the M3 to start production in July of 2023, it's still, and even on a side note, I think there is that rumor that's floating around that M1 is in fact going to be starting at that same time. But of course, that's just a rumor. Nothing has officially come out from Mullen in regards to the M1. So we're kind of stuck in limbo as to, and would really like to see the M1 start production. But the fact that they haven't announced it leads me to believe that there is some supply chain issues behind the scenes. And of course, like I've indicated in the past, Dan Sanchez, who is investor relations for Mullen, has jumped on a Twitter space call, or whatever they're called, and did talk on chips and how everyone's encountering supply chain issues. So I do feel that by him saying that that's kind of alluding to the M1 encountering some supply chain issues. Maybe it is chip-related or some other aspect. But again, this is where we're at. So let me know your thoughts on that. So this is a little bit more of an update on another update is on the Jerry Springer aspect. So the kind of rumor field I know some of you don't want to hear about Lawrence, and my apologies. I just feel that I wanted to share all things with you. And then from there, you guys can make your own decision on everything, right? Because keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just listing points that's coming out. So as you can see, I'm sure a lot of you are already aware that Lawrence did a Facebook post on which he did say that Mullen and I are going to work out our deal. Any further comments and details will come from Mullen. Be blessed, everyone. I have a lot on my plate, which he's indicated in the past. But he does say that Mullen and I are going to work out our deal. So a lot more optimism, and of course I think that's good. And a lot of people are saying that, well, David, you need to be a lot more engaging with your investors. You need to engage more on a weekly basis or bi-weekly or whatever it is. There's a lot of high expectations, but keep in mind, just put yourself in David's shoes. Imagine you say, well, guess what? Next week we might be doing this just as similar to what Lawrence does. And that thing does not come to realization that makes Mullen look very bad. And imagine if someone doesn't have some form of social media, let's say YouTube or Twitter or something like that, then they aren't really aware of that information. So it is kind of difficult to have expectations of, for instance, David, when we've seen it go so poorly with Lawrence. Like I said, him deleting this doesn't mean that the deal isn't off, but it just adds more gray. And of course, when there is gray, there's a lot of obviously individual shorting that kind of causes unnecessary damage, because obviously the biggest priority and biggest damaging thing to Mullen right now is dilution. But the second is probably the naked shorting in shorts, which I'll give you guys a quick overview on that in case you guys do not know, based on my last video. So short scores, 83 utilization is at 100%, and currently based on Friday, shorts returned 3.25 million shares. But 17.09% of the free float's being shorted. 35.67 million shares overall are being shorted. So come Monday, because of the whole dilution, shorts will clearly be taking advantage of that fear and increasing their position in reality. And as well, when it comes down to next week, if there is no PR from Mullen about this whole contract or deal, then once again, that is going to be not very good for just the sentiment. Because as of right now, in case you guys don't know, Lawrence has tentatively approved or said that he's going to be testing the M1 van given, I guess, Mullen's circumstances that they want midweek. So around Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. So by Friday, if we do not hear anything, this is where, like I said, the sentiment is just going to panic. And it is very unfortunate on how this Jerry Springer kind of circumstances have unfolded over the last little bit. just puts Mullen in a very amateur appearance. So again, that all aside, that's the updates I just wanted to share with you. But a lot of people are talking, like I mentioned, about the Q2 earnings and how there's going to be revenue and how it's going to be epic. So I just wanted to break that down. So as far as the last earnings, it did indicate a little bit more of a growing amount of salaries, which of course, as I've shown you on this channel, they are hiring quite a lot still. And as based on David's interview, I think they have roughly around 200 staff, which is a little bit higher than I think the forecast right now, or at least what we have known previously. But it does look like right here based on this. This came out on May the 15th, so fairly recent. But it does say right here that they are expecting initial revenues in August of 2023 for all the Class 1 vehicles that were delivered. So of course, August is within the Q3. So that would be part of the Q3 earnings. And as of right now, they have not delivered anything other than the Class or the M1 vans. So as of right now, there is going to be no actual form of revenue for the upcoming Q2 earnings and a little bit higher for expenses. So once again, this is going to be another earnings that people are trying to and will digest all the expenses that have occurred in Q2 just to see how efficient is Mullen truly being with their money. And of course, based on the last several quarters, even though they are burning through quite a lot of cash, they have shown some improvement. So that's a little bit more of an optimistic standpoint. But of course, looking at the stock price, I don't want to spread any FUD and say that this is the deal of a century, because they are still burning through quite a lot of cash. And at this stage in the game, exactly what Randy did say, they just need production, plain and simple. If they don't produce anything, they can't get any sort of revenue. And as of right now as well, just to keep in line with what is previously said by Chacha and Randy, that I think it was assumed that all the airbags, which I think is one of the many supply chain issues that the M1 is encountering, that they were waiting for airbags to come in, I believe at the beginning of May. But clearly no other deliveries have occurred, and so that is fair to assume that no airbags did come in. So there's a lot of things, so a lot of elms. Pre-existing elms of inventory is still sitting around undelivered, because they are awaiting stuff. So it's not necessarily the best thing for Mullen. And as I said in my last video, as far as if Mullen does have enough cash for production, they definitely do. But they don't have room for error, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is a lot of other companies, such as Lucid and Rivian, have made errors on their production. So they've had to slow or halt production for various times or for various time limits, I guess. And so Mullen doesn't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury of saying, well, we can make a couple of mistakes with our production. No, they need to get it 100% on point. If not, that is going to result in further dilution. And even still, as of right now, we do not know how many M1 or M3 vans that can be produced. So there's a lot of grayness in the air. Guys, that's all we have for you today. What is your opinion about Mullen stock? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.